It's the season of giving and doing good, right? Then let me be completely honest. I've tried pretty much every better health meal kit you can think of, and none have ever really worked for me. That is until I partnered with Factor. Don't bust your belt this bustling holiday season. Eat well for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with chef-prepared, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door with Factor. They're dietitian-approved, meaning the diet doesn't have to take a break while Santa and those usually irresistible Christmas cookies roll into town. Factor is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service. Meal options include Calorie Smart, Vegan and Veggie, and Protein Plus. So give Factor a try today and enjoy eating well without the hassle. Ready in 2 minutes, no prep, no mess. The website is factormeals.com/TOC50, Talk of Champions 50, TOC50. And make sure to use code TOC50 to get 50% off your first order. That's code TOC50 at factormeals.com/TOC50 to get 50% off. Keep Christmas and dinner time merry with Factor, a proud sponsor of the Talk of Champions podcast network.
Talk of Champions, short sessions.
Long story short.
Welcome in to yet another edition of Talk of Champions Short Sessions. I'm your host, Zach Berry. We've got our man, Pete Nakos, here with us from On3. Probably the busiest guy in sports right now, outside of maybe Jimmy Sexton. But he's been kind enough to give us a little time here. A couple days removed from Christmas, day after Boxing Day. I know it's busy for everybody on Boxing Day, right?
Yeah, Boxing Day. Well, thanks so much for having me back. Happy to be here.
Yeah. All right. First thing, at long last, dude, you and I were talking about it for what feels like 2 months, but it was only a couple weeks. Walter Nolan finally goes public, announces for Ole Miss. What in your mind do you think was the biggest factor in Ole Miss ultimately landing him? Because I think early on there was some Ole Miss buzz, but not a ton. But what do you think pushed Ole Miss over the top over Oregon and others?
Yeah, I think there's a few factors, right? I think that first off, Oxford's pretty close to, well, he's from Mississippi. Some families now in Memphis, right? All Memphis to Oxford is like 90 minutes, I believe, much closer than Eugene, Oregon, or Texas A&M. I think on top of that too, I think Walter really liked what Pete Golding was selling him, and I think it really became evident in the last 2 weeks that the defense that's being built at Ole Miss is pretty legit. And it wasn't a situation either, right, where like Walter is going to be the only big piece brought in. I mean, there's been a lot of talent brought in the last 2-3 weeks. And I think that's something Walter Nolan wanted to be a part of.
We're sensing a theme here, Pete, with what Pete Knoxford's doing.
Yes.
I think a lot of people are, picking up what he's putting down, smelling what he's stepping in, all the cliches. But yeah, I think the proof is there. I think they laid a nice foundation in year one, top 25 SP plus defense. And now it seems to be, hey, we sense something special in 2024. We want you to be a part of it. And yeah, I think that was huge. Prince Umamielen coming on, Tyler Barron, Tamari McDonald, Pooh Paul. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's a loaded defense. It's going to bring back some dudes as well. I think that's probably, I think you nailed it. That's probably what it was, because you put Walter Nolan next to JJ Pegues. He's going to get a lot of one-on-ones. Jared Ivey's out there. We mentioned the other portal guys, but yeah, I think when I talked with some folks around Memphis, some folks that coached him in high school, were around that family in high school. I don't think he disliked his experience at A&M. I think the coaching change played a role. Elijah Robinson moving on played a role. And then, yeah, I think you cover it more than I do. I think you're seeing a lot of guys, when they get in the portal, my first inclination is to look, okay, where are they from? What are their options? Do they want to go back closer to home?
Yeah, I mean, I think a reoccurring theme right now in the portal is the fact of how many athletes go in and then actually end up playing closer to home. Another example that comes to mind is like Brian Kelly's first team at LSU had like a bunch of portal athletes from Louisiana. I just think that, I mean, you go away to college, maybe it's not a great fit at A&M. It sounds like it was okay, though. It sounds like there's just a couple other factors with coaching and stuff. And then the opportunity to play in the SEC, play for a team in the SEC that arguably should be in the playoff now in 2024 with how much talent is on that roster. Being able to do it all as probably as close to home as you can, other than maybe like a Tennessee and Knoxville. I think it checks off a lot of boxes.
Yeah, that was something too, talking with folks and fielding questions from our subscribers and others that, how big of a factor is Tennessee? He's not from Knoxville. He just played his senior year there. So yeah, grew up in Memphis, went to Olive Branch, which if you're familiar with Memphis, it's just right outside, right on the other side of the state line. And then had a stint at St. Benedict, which is in Cordova, which is a suburb of Memphis. So yeah, the feel to be closer to home, to where your parents, your family, your cousins, your uncle, your aunt, they can just drive down the road. I mean, if you've done the drive, you know how quick it is. I mean, I did it, for 4 years in college. It's an easy one to do. So I think that was huge. And then you mentioned 2024, the schedule sets up perfectly for Ole Miss. Honestly, in my opinion, the two toughest games are at home in Georgia and Oklahoma. You get LSU on the road, but it's post Jaden Daniels. I think that's going to be a big transition for Brian Kelly and the Tigers. And you mentioned the playoff expanding. I've said it before on our show. I think realistically, the floor for Ole Miss next year is 9-3, 10-2. I don't see any reason why Kiffin and Ole Miss couldn't replicate what they did.
I was on with Andy Staples yesterday, and I told Andy I think that the standard in 2024 is either going to be CFP or bust, right? I mean, Quinshon Judkins, Jackson Dart, Juice Wells. Does Evan Stewart get involved? I'm not really sure. I've heard Ole Miss out there. And then the defensive side of the ball is going to look really good too. So it's hard to, where we're sitting right now, it's hard to not think that Ole Miss is going to contend for a CFP spot.
Yeah. You mentioned our boy Andy and you mentioned Evan Stewart. So let's get into it. You kind of broke the news yesterday of some, I won't call them finalists, but some early front runners for Evan Stewart, the 5-star plus wide receiver that was at A&M. He's now in the portal. I think there were some that thought he might stay. He kind of danced around whether getting officially in or not, finally officially got in the portal. Now he's starting to, listen to some suitors, hear some people out. But I think most thought it was going to be Texas or maybe Alabama, but it doesn't sound like that right now. So what's the latest on Evan Stewart?
Yeah, just from talking to a lot of people, it does not sound like Texas or Alabama are likely landing spots at this moment. Now, things can change. They're both in the college football playoff. Does Jermaine Burton leave or something like that? Does that change things for Alabama? But just like right where we are right now, it really seems like Florida State, Ole Miss, Oregon, USC, and Tennessee are just like 5 to watch, I would say. I don't want to call them finalists and nothing like that. I think Evan might have some visits. Nothing's really concrete right now. But just from what I know, I think those are 5 schools to just kind of keep an eye on. I've been told over and over that development's going to be more important than NIL in this. We'll see how that plays out. Obviously, he was good at A&M. I don't know if he felt like he reached his max potential. What of those like 5 schools can really help him his grade and help him be a top pick maybe in the NFL draft?
Are you looking at cutting your health insurance premiums by as much as 20 to 30%? Are you aging into Medicare and need help finding a Medicare supplement plan? Call Drew Moak of USA Benefits Group at 601-953-8449. Drew is an Ole Miss grad located in Mississippi and licensed in 7 states. He works with the nation's second largest health insurance brokerage with access to 35 different carriers, and he can help you with any of your health insurance needs. From regular health plans to life insurance to dental and vision and even Medicare, he has it all covered. Now more than ever, it is critical to have a health insurance agent who is local and accessible. So call Drew Moak at 601-953-8449 and get your free quote today.
It's that time of year where the weather outside can be frightful, and frightful weather can do real damage to your roof. If you're looking for peace of mind this holiday season, knowing that your roof is taken care of, contact Riverland Roofing. Whether you need an inspection, a new roof, or a maintenance program, Riverland Roofing has you covered, home or business. They're a GAF Master Elite contractor and can offer warranties that last a lifetime. Licensed and insured, Riverland services Mississippi and its surrounding states. Don't worry about the roof over your head this holiday season. Contact Riverland Roofing today. 662-644-4297. That's 662-644-4297. Or visit riverlandroofing.com. Riverlandroofing.com. Riverland Roofing, for all your roofing needs, and a proud sponsor of the Talk of Champions podcast network.
That's a great point there when you brought up development and how that's key for a decision, because we've seen Ole Miss not only bring in, high profile dudes, but they've also developed some dudes in the offense in Jordan Watkins, Dayton Wade, Trey Harris, specifically at the wide receiver position.
Right.
Guys that were, solid where they were, and then they get to Ole Miss and take that next step. We talked about it. Ole Miss is the only college football program in the country with 3 guys over 700 yards receiving. Stewart, in 2 years in College Station, he had 91 receptions, over 1,100 yards and 6 touchdowns. So pretty solid numbers for a young wideout. But yeah, like the offense was it was so bizarre under Jimbo, and we don't have to get into that. But yeah. Development being a key factor, I think, is crucial for Ole Miss if it's going to get into this race seriously. But look, the proof is there. The track record of hey, we're going to put up, a hefty NIL, package for you. They've done it with everyone else in this cycle. So at this point, you can't count out Lane Kiffin and that staff, because them and Walker Jones and the Grove Collective have done a great job.
Yeah, I don't think you can really rule Ole Miss out on anything right now, just the way things are rolling right now. I think Evan Stewart would be dynamic in that offense. I couldn't imagine how Lane Kiffin could use him as a weapon in that passing game. But yeah, like I mentioned, I think it's a little early. I don't want to make it seem like he's a lock to Ole Miss or anything, but I think that Ole Miss is definitely intriguing. And yet again, the portal haul makes it even more attractive to some of these guys.
I would probably say, if we're going off the development footnote here, Florida State would be a nice option. We saw what they did with Keon Coleman, a guy that came in and just went off. So he's leaving. That would be an opening. Maybe there's probably going to be some negative recruiting from others that are like, hey, do you see the wide receiver room at Ole Miss? Like, how are you going to get the ball? But we know Kiffin, his whole philosophy is like, I'm just going to get as many good players as I can, and we'll figure it out. But yeah, Stewart's a fun prospect to kind of try to pinpoint and dial in on what he can do, because Kiffin is so good at utilizing skill sets and finding mismatches. So it's fun to dream about what that would look like in the offense. But yeah, did he give any kind of indication on a decision timeline at all? I know, because a lot of the quote finalists or front runners are playing games or preparing for games right now.
I have not been given the timeline. Going back to Florida State real quick, I think that the Keon Coleman model, if you will, I think that is very attractive. And Florida State could definitely use a wide receiver of Evan's caliber, right? They are shopping for a quarterback, whether it be Cam Ward, whether it be DJU. What if Cam Ward goes to the NFL and they start a young guy? Well, all of a sudden, Evan Stewart's a hell of a target to have in the pass game for a young guy trying to figure out the ACC.
Yeah, kind of look at it on both sides there. Florida State lands Evan Stewart, then hey, it's attractive for a quarterback to come there.
Right.
Then on the flip side, you look at a program like Ole Miss. Hey, we've got Jackson Dart coming back. It's going to be his 3rd year. He knows the system inside and out. Come here with an experienced, established starter. There's many ways to look at it. As far as kind of, he didn't give an indication on a timeline, but looking at what he would potentially do for any of these teams that have been mentioned earlier, he's not an older guy. I mean, he's only played 2 seasons, so I think that could potentially play a role for say Ole Miss, like they got a ton of dudes, but like all those guys are probably going to be gone after 2024. So how does that factor in with like being the guy?
I do wonder if Evan is also looking for a spot where he can really be developed and then maybe evaluate what his stock is in 2020 in the 2025 NFL
Yeah.
draft. I think I know I mentioned USC. USC really doesn't have a quarterback right now outside of Miller Moss. So
Mhm.
that was worth watching. I
Yeah.
really love the fit at Oregon with Dylan Gabriel and Dante Moore and what Dan Lanning has going on the West Coast right now. So I think the Ducks will definitely be a school to definitely watch.
Yeah, they're going to lose Franklin, and I would assume Trayshawn Holden
Yep.
might look at where his stock is. But yeah, interesting way to look at it there. Because yeah, I mean, not a surefire one stop gap for him, but it could be. But yeah, and last thing, I know he told folks at On3 he wants to study communications. And look, if you go to Ole Miss, I study communications, and look at me, I'm on a Zoom call with you, so you can do all right if you do communications at Ole Miss. Um, all right, last quick one, kind of a rapid fire here. Out of all of the dudes Ole Miss landed, I know there's probably some easy answers there, but who do you expect to be a day one impact, first team All SEC type of guy for Ole Miss in 2024?
Alter Nolan. I mean, what that guy can do to the defensive line, the front seven at Ole Miss is going to be something that I don't think we've ever seen at Ole Miss, or definitely haven't seen. Maybe you would know better than I, in at least the Lane Kiffin era.
Yeah.
I think that the most exciting point about Walter Nolan is there's no question that Ole Miss and Kiffin get it done in the passing game and on offense, and what Pete Golding has done this year has been really impressive. But
Mhm.
um, we're talking about the CFP. We're talking about all this. I mean, you win at that level in the trenches, right? There's a reason why the Alabama, Georgia, Michigan, Ohio States of the world are
Mhm.
what they are, and it's because of the line of scrimmage.
Right.
And almost just landed the top player available on the line of scrimmage. So I expect him to be an instant impact.
Yeah. Look, 10-year anniversary of basically when the Landshark defense was founded, back in 2014 when Ole Miss had a top 5 defense. So maybe, history might repeat itself in 2024. It'll be fun. All right. That's Pete Nakos of On3. Busy. I appreciate the time, man. Always fun to chat. Tell the folks where they can find you on Twitter and all your stuff that you write for On3.
Yeah, I'm at on3.com, and then my Twitter handle is Pete Nakos _ NAKOS. So I appreciate you having me on, Zach.
Yep, absolutely. Happy holidays, my buddy. And
Yep.
we'll talk again soon, I'm sure.
Talk soon. Happy holidays.
Yep. That's going to do it. Talk of Champions short sessions. Thanks to Pete. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Thank you to the sponsors that make this show possible. Happy holidays to you all. Safe travels on the way to Atlanta. And until next time, we out.